the ESPN came out with their top 100 players in college football. Here's one of the most interesting facts. Not facts, because this isn't factual. This is all just subjective opinion. Some of them are factors, like Brock Bowers is that dude, Marvin Harrison is that dude, Caleb Williams. But of the 100, Austin, are you looking at it?
I got it pulled up.
Okay. Right now, I want you to guess, of the 100, you two, how many do you think are quarterbacks? Just off the top of your head, how many do you think? Without looking.
Okay, I'm switching tabs.
This is astonishing.
Williams, May,
No,
Penix,
I just need the numbers. Just how many?
I'm just trying to think through it.
Right. Yeah.
That's 4.
America loves quarterbacks.
So do the writers or whoever wrote this. Whoever wrote this.
Yeah.
12.
Mm-hmm. I'd have said 15.
12 and 15. 21. Listen.
Go with what you know, bro.
Listen. They have Milton from Tennessee down at 76. They have my man
Travis.
Yeah, Sam Hartman. They have a guy from University of Texas San Antonio.
Yeah, Frank Harris, my boy.
KJ Jefferson, Arkansas.
But let me vouch for Mr. Harris.
Well, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying. Listen,
let me just say. Remember Willis at Liberty?
Yeah, he's that. Yeah, Frank Harris is that dude. He had 4,000 yards, 32 touchdowns.
32,
and he was 57 the year before. But what I'm thinking, but here's what I'm thinking. Yes, he's a great college quarterback. He's a great player. Not taking anything away from him. When you're thinking of top 100, you're trying to tell me USC's number 2 receiver is in there. I know Ohio State has their 2 receivers in there, but you're trying to tell me a Clemson wide receiver or a Florida. I'm just saying the depth of these guys. And then you have 21 quarterbacks. 21.
If this is again
21 quarterbacks.
You're talking about writers who don't watch football outside of their own space. They know names of quarterbacks.
They even have Jared. They have Will Rogers in there.
There's nobody on this who voted on this list that knows 21 centers in America. There's none.
They got JJ McCarthy on there.
They do not know. They don't know. They don't know 6 kickers. They don't know the best 4 kick returners. They don't know 15 of the best offensive guards.
Let me ask you this. This is one of the most surprising to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you about this. Jalen Daniels from Kansas took the nation by storm because Kansas went to a bowl game, started out 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
It was a foregone conclusion that their head coach was going to be the head coach of Nebraska up until they tricked off that game, last play of the game against TCU, and the rest is history. It still made a bowl game. But Jalen Daniels as number 44 is way too high. He only had 2,000 yards last year and 18 TDs. Yes, he only played 9 games, but that's still not enough. 44. And DP's right. I think a lot of these writers are looking at fanfare, SIDs, and stuff like that, because there's no continuity to it. Because when you look at who I just mentioned before, like Jalen McMillan, the wide receiver who's supposedly might be a first-round pick for Washington, is number 48. He has the numbers: 80 catches, 1,000 yards, 9 receivers. The other receiver had on Washington had the same. Well, Michael Penix, he's got to be rated higher. You have Latu, the pass rusher from USC or from UCLA,
ahead of Junior Colson,
right? But he had 10.5 sacks, and he has next level, measurables. And you're trying to tell me he's number 49 behind him as well?
Dylan Gabriel at 60.
Right.
We saw him, and we've seen him. All things were considered.
Right. Dylan Gabriel, right? He kind of was up at the top of, the people that everybody loved, and then he took a little bit of a dip. But let's look at the Big Ten players, right? Mm-hmm. And so the knowns of, Marvin Harrison Jr., we know that, right? He's there. He's that dude. He's unstoppable. But the first guy that Nebraska really will see is who we saw up close and personal, that won the best dress, and he won the
serious,
and he won the most charisma, is Blake Corum.
Mm-hmm.
I would call him Pocket Hercules, but my man is yoked up. He's 5'9", every bit of 215. He's built real well.
He said, "Yo, Blotto, this blazer don't fit you."
Yes.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
that. His suit jacket was screaming.
Yes, and his NIL money went right to those chains.
Ooh.
But you have him, and then you have Edwards. Two in Edwards. When Corm got hurt, he was able more than to step up and carry it. That's 2 NFL caliber running backs. I know they don't use it that much, but you got 2 guys that are very, very dominant or could be dominant if they were on separate teams. But they make a 2-headed monster.
Whoa.
That gives a lot of
number
people
93, Jay Foreman. Number 93. Number 93.
Who's that?
Bro. Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, that was where I was going to get to next. But I wanted to take a pit stop, DP,
Okay.
at your boy. Okay.
Say it.
Because you're from the Utah. He's from
Say
the
it.
Utah Utes, who I like the way he plays tough. Plays with a really good chip on his shoulder. I feel like
second best tight end in college football. Second best offensive lineman. Third best defensive lineman.
Yeah.
But, and top 7 quarterback.
I'm talking about Cam
Rising. Top 7 quarterback.
Yeah, and he's a gamer. Seems to play his best and biggest moments. I mean, he jumped on the national scene 2 years ago in the Rose Bowl against Ohio State. Went throw for throw, big play for big play against Ohio State. Ohio State obviously ended up pulling away. But then the way that he was effectively, not only in the first time they played USC, to be efficient, throwing to the Kincaid and the other tight end that's on here, but then he doubled down when USC, if they win that game, they're in the college football playoff in the Pac-12 championship. That's the one I think they got right. Utah, normally wouldn't be on there, but they're on there with 3 different players.
They're going to finish the season at number 2.
2 offensive players and a defensive tackle.
They're going to finish going into college playoffs number 2. I'll go to bat with that right now. They win the Pac-12 and they go into the season into the bowl rankings at number 2.
What do you think about Penn State? Penn State with Kalen King. They're now coming to be cornerback, but they have 2 really good running backs in Singleton and what's the other one? His last name? He's on here. They have 2 really good running backs themselves.
Yeah, they did list 2 Ohio State.
Yeah.
Both
2
of
Penn
them.
State.
Yeah. And then I like number 100 on the list. Number 100.
Oh, if he's anything like his dad, he's going to be playing. He's going to play NFL football for another decade or 2 decades. It's Frank Gore Jr. He's down there at Southern Miss. I'm sure that his DMs were off the charts as far as coming to our school and taking over our reins. Decided to stay there and has done really well. And he's lived up to all the expectations. As I say here, he's at 1,600 yards from the scrimmage, so it lets you know he's got 1,000 or 1,300 yards rushing, and then he averaged 11 yards per catch. So he's doing it all down there and making a name for himself. Here's the one guy I know Tulane was good last year. I watched him, and I felt like at times last year they were more physical than Nebraska the way that they played, and they were exciting. And of course, the quarterback is going to get a ton of kudos. I'd be hard pressed to think that he's number 99.
Kansas State quarterback is on the list.
I like him. Will Howard.
Right.
I think he was. I think with Will Howard, I think Adrian got him started. He got dinged up. Will Howard came in there and gave them another more explosive down the field passing threat. Adrian came back in the 2-headed monster. I felt like catapulted Kansas State. I can see why he's on there.
But they got
Kobe Bryant on here.
They have Riley Leonard at 92. Duke's quarterback. And I thought, okay.
It's Daniel Jones' like younger brother.
Right. You're doing like I'm trying to like whisper. Okay, Austin, I understand, but that Duke has 2 players in 90 through 95. Duke.
Well,
this ain't hoops. If you said Duke had 2 of the 100 best players in basketball, okay. Football.
Well, let me ask you this, Austin and DP, before we go to break. Would you ever thought that Riley Leonard had over 700 yards rushing? You would have.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because he went to Duke.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't have a choice.
Yeah,
gotta run.
Did some work against Northwestern.
Gotta run.
Oh,
Mhm.
he threw for 3,000 though.
Yeah, but a lot of his stuff is I'm gonna spread you out,
It must be something with Duke's quarterback. Cause Daniel Jones was fast, and this dude's fast.
spread you
Well,
out.
they got away from the Cutcliffe model, right? Cutcliffe
Yeah.
worked with the Mannings, who
Yeah.
are very much not that. Now that he's gone, I think Elko's going more mobility.
Listen, Duke will spread you out
Oh, I know.
and get the quarterback one-on-one with a weak side linebacker, a will linebacker. That like they step up towards the weakest tackler in the front seven, step up against him, beat him, get me 12, hit the dirt, let's roll again.
And when you were first starting to get into the sports media radio,
Yeah.
Duke would have Riley Leonard ahead of Spencer Rattler, who was QB1 superstar, one of the top recruits, surefire first-round pick.
Mhm.
I felt like he was rejuvenated the second half of the season under Marcus Satterfield in South Carolina. Never would you think a Duke quarterback would be in there. Never would you think Duke would have a first-round pick in Daniel Jones as a quarterback. And then they got his little brother and doubled down on it.
Hey, find something that works, copy success.
That is true.
Copy
That
success.
and if they didn't just copy success, but now,
Hey, a smart school copied success. How about that?
yep. Listen here. Before we go to break, for people that Marcus Satterfield, if we could bring some of this, if you can get Jeff Sims to play somewhat consistent. Antoine Wells Jr., they call him Juice. He had 68 catches on pretty much 1,000 yards. One of the guys that ran those level routes to Tennessee is still trying to figure it out. If we could get a Marcus Washington, IGC, Billy Kemp to be somewhat productive like this, we're going to have a different conversation at the end of the year. He's in the top 191, along with Spencer Rattler. Again, South Carolina has not been known as offensive power. They've always been a defensive school. Ton of first-round picks. So good up on them. Little kudos to Marcus Satterfield.